Namaste, Adab, good evening, Sat Shri Akal. Very warm welcome to the viewers of Shruti Dutt Show, and we are going to have a very inspiring conversation, as you can see, with somebody who is all full of life, body, and light. So that is Tannaz Irani, a very famous Bollywood star and a TV actress, very, very successful in this line for the last 30 years. And what has interested me to invite her on this show that because that she has changed her story now. She is now also an author. She is also an NLP coach. And of course, she's a lot of other things which we will get to know as we talk to her today. And so be ready, sit tight to listen to some very interesting stories from Tanaz. So, Tanaz, very warm welcome to you.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
before I talk about your acting life, because let's start with what you're doing right now. So, I believe you've just come out with a book which is meant to inspire a lot of people. So, if you have a copy, can you show it to my viewers?
Yes, actually, it's pretty. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for having me on the show, Dr. Shruti. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm sure everyone must be really shocked that I have written a book. And then when they think that I have written a book, they must be thinking it's all about comedy, something, lighthearted. But
Yes,
all I can say is it's anything but that. It has a lot of comic streaks in it. It has been explained in a very light-hearted and a beautiful, sarcastic manner at times. Not ever giving up my comedy DNA that's predominantly always there in me. This book is a little more deep. It speaks a lot about what I have gone through, which I did not want to share on social media. And therefore, the name is If I Can, So Can You. So
wonderful.
that's the name of my book. And it's a nice self explanatory title. And it also talks about the ultimate mind mastery blueprint because everything that we do is always related to our mind. And we've forgotten that the first thing we need to do is control our mind because that is
Absolutely.
the pivotal point of every decision that you're going to make in life. So this book is about
So,
that. And of course, it's got a lot of streaks of NLP that I've just learned. For the viewers who don't know what is NLP, it's neuro linguistic programming. Neuro is to do with the brain, linguistic is to do with the language. So it's a connection between the neuro and the language that you speak. So that you get and pick up the right call and not get a wrong number. That's the programming you need.
So before you continue on that, let me share with the viewers that I know that she actually uses NLP and to the best effect because I have seen her ignoring her pain in her knee, ignoring her pain in her leg, and coming up with full zest to meet me in Mumbai when I was there some a few weeks back. That I could have never imagined that she's going through so much pain because she was glowing and happy and excited about some more book projects which we were discussing. And I had no clue that she was already writing one book like this, which is I went through it today in the afternoon, and congratulations, Anaz. It's really a very compact and very helpful book. I think it will really help a lot of people. And your anecdotes in the book are so interesting. But before I continue, I want you to share that what was the one thing that made you want to write a book? And I
You know,
can see that you have Shri Shri on the back cover. So can you share with us your connection with, meditation, Shri Shri, and all this thing about wanting to share with the public? What made you do that?
usually when you go through something very powerful in your life, something that's very difficult in your life, something that's way out of your comfort zone, is that time when you realize how truly strong you are. And that's when you realize that there's no one coming to pick you up, there's no one coming to help you, there's no one coming to explain to you or be with you on in those trying times. And that's exactly the time you need to be alone. because that's the time you'll find out so much strength within. uh, I haven't shared this on social media that a year back I was going through a massive back problem, because I had suffered a major depression because of a personal trauma that passed through our family, and I hadn't attended to the trauma properly. Maybe I did not, seek any help. I did not go out, and I continued with my work, thinking that we'll laugh it off and we'll just go about our daily work and we'll shoot and we'll be fine. But that wasn't the case, because the trauma had kind of seeped inside me and obviously attacked the most weakest part of my body, that was my back. I went in for rehab for my back for about 3 to 4 months, which kind of sorted itself out. But soon after that, I found that the trauma took over my hip bone, my hip joint, my knee, my sciatica, my IT band. Everything went for a toss. It was so bad, Shruti, that I just couldn't walk. I just couldn't walk. I had
I can.
lost all my confidence. I could not go back to work because obviously you cannot shoot with the amount of pain that I was in. So much
Yes.
so that I was literally using a stick to walk. And I did not want to share this on social media, because you know what? It's not that I was embarrassed, but I didn't want it just to be another story. I just
Yeah.
didn't want it to be another phase in somebody's life, another celebrity with some problem, and speaking about on social media. I mean, at the most, what will people say? That, oh, so sorry, get well soon. I didn't want that,
Absolutely.
because I was suffering a lot. And I said, and as I was suffering, I was obviously getting more and more depressed, right? Because I was in my room and I was like, what the hell is going on with me? I'm always hands on. I've always been a very enthusiastic person. And I just didn't know what was happening to me. And I was getting more and more upset, more and more depressed. I was just half of the Tannaz that even I knew. And that's when I took to getting up and saying, okay, fine. If my legs are not working, Tannaz Irani, your mind is working.
My
You're a very strong person. You can do something else. And I joined NLP with Dr. And YSR. And I just took off from there. I said, you know what? I've got to change the story I'm telling myself. I've got to empower myself.
So
And
for the
I joined.
benefit of the viewers, Tanaz, like I know that I'm also an NLP coach, and I know that there are certain NLP techniques that can actually help you release pain also. And
Yes.
did you practice any of that, and did it help you in your knee pain and leg pain? Because of course, apart from the physical pain that you must have got because of either, did you fall down? What happened exactly? What had
You know,
happened?
there was no impact. There was no accident. I just got this
So
problem
it was
all
all
on its own.
emotional blockages then. So I'm sure the
Absolutely.
techniques must have helped you a lot then to release
The
yourself.
techniques have helped me a lot. More than anything else, mentally, I started becoming more and more strong. Mentally, I found that, oh, yes, I can do something else. Because I'll tell you what, when you've been working for 30 years of your life, you
One
obviously have a
thing.
different mindset. You have a growth mindset. And
Yes.
I was getting restricted. I was getting frustrated. I was in a zone which I couldn't understand or comprehend. And when I started doing NLP, that's when I started growing again. I was back to my core values. I understood what was happening. And what was tremendously euphoric for me was I was learning something new. And
Yes.
as a mentor, as a guru, I think Dr. YSR completely outdid himself, because this was a course I did in Hindi, and I
Oh, wow.
completely resonated with the teacher, with him, the way he
Wonderful.
was teaching and the way he was kind of, empowering us every minute of the day and every session. The leg pain is still there, because obviously
Yeah.
it's a very acute leg pain, but yes, it has become much less. And through the classes, I've made some brilliant friends. And when you have powerful minds, when you meet, when you practice, when you're talking together, I think they themselves also uplift you. And at that point of time, you need these kind of friends. For every
Yes.
problem, there's a different solution. So for every phase of your life, you need a different set of friends, a different set of people who are going to speak the same language. And that's
Yes.
what I also acquired through the classes. So I was really happy, blessed. And I said, when I tell my story, I'm going to say it in such a way that my pain is not going to be just a pain. I'm going to turn my pain into my power. That
Yes.
even with this
Power.
leg, I go all over. I do my reels. I nobody can make out that I cannot walk. I mean, you've seen me. That's why
Yes,
you know.
I think.
But
I
I
was
never told anyone.
amazed when I was really amazed when I saw you limp, because when you were sitting and chatting, there was no trace of any pain. And and it really touched me that you are moving on despite everything. And that's how the spirit should be. I was really happy to see that. And that's why I wanted you to connect to my viewers today, so that some of your energy can be taken by all of them. And if they are in a challenging situation in their life, they should not give up. They should change their story. Body नहीं काम करती तो mind से काम लो, just like Tannaz has done, and always keep a growth mindset, as she said. So that's, it's easier said than done, Tannaz. So I want you to share something about your work-life balance. Okay, right now, of course, it's so many challenges. Like you're a mother of three children also, and I've seen you talking on the phone, connecting to Zara, Vivian. I don't know, सारा टाइम आपका डबल फोन चलता है, एक प्रोफेशनल एक पर्सनल. So how do you manage all that, your kitchen and everything? I mean, I've seen you in action. So I want to know, what sort of NLP techniques do you apply? What is your mindset that you can manage everything so smoothly? And of course, in
Well,
your book today, I read that hilarious chapter about how you do your makeup in the car, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Because I've also been a person who can, do makeup in the car, but I'm sure not as well as you manage, because you're an actress and you have to put on lashes, etc. also. So it's really, but the way you've written it, I think the viewers must go to the book and read it. It's so beautifully, shared. बहुत मजा आया था पढ़ के. तो आप थोड़ा सा हमारे व्यूअर्स को बताओ, in a day, how do you do your balancing? Because I think a lot of
well,
women will be interested.
as a woman, you know what? I have put very high standards on myself, and I've always told myself ever since I became a mom and a new generation mom, right? So the way I had brought up Zian, who is now 30 years old, she's my eldest daughter, was very different. I was a very different mother then. But the new generation needs new kind of parenting. And for Zara and Zias, I have always had this one mindset. It's also like an NLP technique. It's something called uh, anchoring. I have just had this thought in my mind that there is a camera over here, BBC camera, and here there's CNN. Anything I say and do will be recorded and played in the world. This is
Wow.
my anchor thought whenever I am dealing with them.
Wow.
Okay. So whenever I pick up the phone, I always have this anchor thought that I'm this huge, world celebrity. And every time the phone will ring, I'll be on the camera. So this is for me to monitor myself that I'm always speaking well. And then soon it becomes a habit. So I always tell them, whether I'm sitting with a big director, whether I'm sitting and doing a 1 crore deal, don't worry. When your call comes, I will be just relaxed and I'll be completely fine. So whenever I pick up the phone, I'm always worried about where they are, what's happening to them, like what mindset are they calling me in. Even if they're frustrated, worried, or speaking fast, they know if they call mummy, she'll always be balanced, because you need that
Wonderful.
one big strong pillar where everyone can tie themselves around. So for
How
me,
well.
I had set my own standards really high, and nobody really forced me to do that. And I think each child that is born to you at a different stage in your life. So when I
Yes.
had Zian, my stage was very different. That was 30 years ago when I was riding the wave, when I was just getting into the field. So my life was very different, and my life with her was very different. And then when Zeus was born, my life was a little different, and then he was teaching me things. He was teaching me to be patient. He was teaching me how to be a mommy. Then when Zara was born, I was much older. I was like 40. She taught me how to love unconditionally, how to
Wonderful.
completely, because by the time you're also older, you're kind of a little jaded, you're kind of seen life, and you can live without, people. You kind of like, you made yourself so strong. And she taught me that no, you need to still be vulnerable, you still need to come down to my level and love unconditionally, like as if the whole world is rosy. So she's teaching me all that, bringing me back, in time. So I think being a mom is a very big responsibility. Whoever is a mom out there, whatever works for you is fine for your kids. Don't try to copy anybody else. Because for
True.
me, this is years of conditioning that I have put into myself that now it comes automatically.
Right.
Everything I say, everything I do, I always feel is recorded. So it must be the best, so that's just the conditioning that I have given and put on myself.
This is so wonderful, Tanas, because I'm a mom of three also. And I've also been through, like different child, different way of mothering because my elder and younger have an 8 year difference. Not as
Okay.
much as y'all, but they're 8 year difference. So totally different generation in a way they become. And it's a challenge. And I love your attitude of learning from the children. I think that is the trick for the best kind
Yeah,
of parenting because they guide you, and
absolutely.
I think they're very lucky to have a mom like you who's so
Thank
patient,
you.
so kind, and so loving. And before, like after your I think you were acting right throughout your pregnancies and everything. You were at work, you know. So tell us about that time. Like, how did you manage your roles and your pregnancies and your children and your acting and the struggle? And what were the best roles that you've done, the most challenging times that you have, been through and overcome? Something that would be inspiring for young actors and, people who might be
I
watching.
I think when I was pregnant with my first daughter, I was very active with theater. And I used to be in a Bharat Dhabholkar play called Bottoms Up. We had done almost over 1,000 shows, and I've traveled the world with him. Very lucky to do that show. And I think 2 years in the scene, I got pregnant with Zian. And then I had to leave after some time because yeah, it's kind of showed because it was a satire, it was a comedy, and I had to wear these really tight small clothes. And then I was sitting in the audience one day. I said, "Chalo, let's go and see the play. Let me see it for a change from the audience's point of view." And I sat down and I was watching the play, and suddenly I get told by Bharat, his assistant comes and says, "Sir has called you behind. Bharatji wants you to do one part." I'm like, "Arey, how?" He said, "You know all the jokes. You just come where the next two, three jokes you do." So I'm like, "Arey, how, yeah?" So they said, "You just come." And I went backstage, and as I was pregnant with Zian, they made me do all these jokes, and they kept putting these one-liners, extra liners in the joke. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is the first time my daughter's also acting with me, you know?" So I just handled all the pregnancies really, really, I think, just really well. Second pregnancy with Zeus, I remember I was directing a play,
Wow.
and there was Daisy Irani, Samir Soni, the late Nafisa Joseph, Sandeep Sikand, and Bakhtiar Irani, my husband. And I was directing the play and Kishore Merchant. And while I was directing, I was getting so upset because they weren't listening or I was directing. So I used to hold my stomach and yell at them. You know what? You're not listening. I told you enter from that side. You're entering before. You have to wait till his line gets over. Hear it, let the audience laugh, then take the entry. And I was holding my stomach, all the time yelling, screaming. So all of them used to look at me and they said, "We don't know when your baby is going to be born. We don't think every day when you come is going to be born. But जैसे भी आएगा तेरा baby या बाबा, उसकी English बहुत अच्छी आएगी." They used to always say that. Because I'm always, speaking in English and directing in English. They're like, whatever happens, your baby is going to speak explicit English. And
So
then
your
when Zara
babies
was born,
now your babies are quite old. Do they have
yeah,
interest in acting and direction? Are they coming up with those interests because they've learned it
a
in the
lot,
womb?
a lot.
Yeah,
In fact, he loves direction. He wants to take it up. He's a very good actor also himself, but
I'm sure.
I think all the while I was pregnant, because I was directing so much, he just loves direction. He loves acting. And my youngest daughter also, she loves to act and she mimics me very well. And yeah, so in her time, I was dancing all the time. I had even done the Nachwaliya one of the, they'd called us as a celebrity guest. So, and I was pregnant. I didn't want to tell everybody because it was just 3, 4 months. I even shot a music video when I was pregnant.
Wow.
So,
That speaks of
yeah,
all
and
your
they didn't know.
passion for acting and like it's been so much fun for
Yeah.
you and
I
it's I
think
think
so
such a
myself.
blessing to be in
Yeah,
the kind of, your ikigai has been perfect. Like you've been in a field which you always
yeah.
loved and
Yeah, I think
that's
you
something.
don't think about it because your passion is so bigger than the work that you just
Yeah.
do it effortlessly. And that's what I love to tell people is that if you love something, the effort that you put in is going to be, more than the pain that you feel, like late nights, not eating on time, maybe going erratic hours, shooting when you're pregnant, whatever the thing is, whatever your pain points are, if you love it a lot, you'll just do it effortlessly. And that is when the entire success starts hitting you even faster.
Yeah. So going back to your son's years, I remember meeting him and I found him to be a really well-mannered child. So how has he been brought up in such a beautiful way that he's so well-mannered, so good? Or was it just for that temporary time when I was there with so many people, or is he that good at home also?
No, he is predominantly a very good boy. Very, very good boy. Has his mind completely organized, much older than his age. I think for the first 7 years of his life, I had given up my work, not given it up, but I had, not attended so much of shooting. I was completely with him, reading with him, sleeping with him. He was a very, very naughty boy when he was small, always kept me on my toes and ridiculously naughty, like he would go to school and do something or the other. But I
I
think
don't blame him. He
that
has a
was
comedian for a
that was his
mom.
charm. That was his charm, and all the teachers just love him. So I'm
I
not
know he
worried
is
about his
very charming.
grades. I think with my children, I'm never worried about their grades. I'm never worried about how well they're doing in school. I'm never worried if they've taken their project. I'm never worried if they've done their homework. I am more worried that when something bad happens or when something good happens, how did you handle it? How did you handle your teacher? How did you help her? And are you a good human being? That's
That's
all.
so important.
I'm worried about that. I want you to be a
Yeah.
good human being.
Yes. And I think that really matters the most, as long as you're a good human being, everything else
Yeah,
falls into place. So now
absolutely.
you actually professionally started coaching also as an NLP coach, or are you just planning to do that? Where is your thing right now?
So I'm planning to start. I've just about started. Everything's been happening so fast. I just finished my convocation. I just launched my book, and now I will start advertising on Facebook. And yeah, starting my webinars, starting my classes.
Like, wonderful. So, when you were learning the process of becoming a coach, like you probably tried out all the techniques yourself also. So, what
Yes.
were like more challenging techniques you found, or were they all very easy for you?
All the methods are very easy for me because as an actor, we're already used to visualization. We're already used to seeing ourselves as a third party. And
Mhm.
the best part is I also had an NLP coach.
Mm.
So when I used to get up on stage and I was going through some maybe some personal problem or some irritability factor, or I was getting triggered by some other people, and I was not finding, the vibes matching. So I had my friend who was a qualified NLP coach at that
Ah,
time. She used to
wonderful.
live in London, so obviously the time difference was a little bit, challenging. But I used to call her, and those methods that she walked me through, and the questions she used to ask me, and the strategies that she used to use actually used to help me. So I know
Mhm.
these work.
Yeah.
So
So
whenever I'm,
you've written a lot about the anchoring technique in your book. So can you give us an
yeah,
example where you used it and it really worked?
yeah. So, whenever I go on stage and people say that, oh, you're so confident, that's not true. There are times when you're completely scared, nervous, you don't know what's happening. So I anchor a thought that I see myself, I visualize myself at the end of the performance or at the end of the talk, where everyone is completely happy with me. And I'm, shaking hands and I'm like, it went well, it went well, it went well, it went well, it went so well. I completely repeated repeatedly and I anchored that thought. So just before I get on stage, of course, there's a lot of prep that goes on before. Prep is preparation. But I think in every field, whether you're a surgeon or a doctor or a baker or even construction, you need to prepare. So before
Yeah.
you go up on stage, I always have myself in front of the mirror and I always look at myself and kind of transcend that. Okay, now I'm looking at Tanaz. I'm not Tanaz, I'm looking at her. How would Tanaz like to be on stage? How would you like
Oh,
to see Tanaz on stage? That's the kind of
won-
conversation I would have with myself. And this
wonderful.
becomes very organic, so Shruti, when I'm saying this right now, it sounds a little bizarre maybe to people who've never heard of NLP, never heard of how to use the mind outside just choosing a restaurant, or what dish would they like to eat, or what lipstick should they buy. They think a mind, make up your mind means that. No, make up your mind is very deep, it has a lot of depth in it. It's a superior piece of machinery. So when you are doing all this, when I'm telling you how I anchor myself, it must be sounding so complicated or so stupid or so, senile, but it's not.
Not to me.
It the first 2 3 times you'll find it a little weird, but the fourth time you will need it. You will go back to that method and say, wow, that really empowered me. You prep
Yes.
yourself up before going on stage, and no matter how many times you go up on stage, so, and no matter how well you are as a mentor, a speaker, a coach, you need to prepare, you need to do your own anchoring, and then only you can give out. Because unless your
So,
cup is not full,
you spoke about being a speaker just now. So I know that you've done TED Talks 3 times over. So tell us something about your experience at the TED and what were your topics and what was the need to do 3 times of TED.
so, because I've lived such a, I think, I've lived such a profound life. I mean, like everything that can go wrong has happened to me, and everything that can go right has happened to me. So, are we on? Are we still on?
Yeah, yeah, we are on.
Okay.
I think they just
So,
put an ad for a while. They remove it.
okay, okay. So the point is, there was so much for me to speak to the audience that I guess every topic I could speak on. So the first topic that I spoke on my TED talk was that how I was almost going to leave the world of entertainment, my dream, my passion, when a very untoward incident happened with me and a director, and
Mhm.
how it completely shook me, it completely threw me off base, it threw me off my dream. It was an instance that completely shook me. And I never thought that, I was shakeable. So that was my first TED talk, where again I turned my pain into my power. I completely realized that no, this was wrong. I was not going to leave because of somebody else's fault. And the second TED talk was about um, yeah, how I am as a parent, what parenting is now, in the
Okay.
era of a Tesla car. I can't be the
Right.
same mother that was, at the time of an ambassador car. I need to change my parenting style. I need to change the way I'm going to, talk to my children now, because the years have changed, the era has changed, everything's changed. So you need to change the way you parent too.
Yes.
And
So
the third TED talk, I have forgotten what it was about, but it was also very empowering, and uh, it was really beautiful. I just feel that whenever I have a point to share, I like to make it personal so that people can relate. Because a lot of celebrities only talk about the fun in their life, the travel in their life, the fashion in their life. And that's not wrong. That's what celebrities are meant for. That's why we look up to them. But it takes a lot of guts to come out of the space and come and speak about all the challenges also that we face. So I
yes.
I had decided a long time ago, long time ago, before I even knew that I was going to make it so big, that if this face can change anyone's life, I am going to do that.
Oh,
You know?
wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's make it a little lighter. Let's go back to your childhood when you would steal your, time from the family and dance on Bollywood songs secretly. Tell us something about that as a kid, because that is like you have mentioned that later on you realized it was like an NLP technique that some uncle of yours gifted you a diary. And in that diary, you used to keep writing how you would become a successful Bollywood actress as a little
Yeah.
child and how it has manifested in your life. And you have actually encouraged all your readers to write the script of their lives and make sure that it happens for them. So tell us
Yeah.
something about your childhood and all those, dancing days of yours, which manifested so beautifully in your life.
Yeah, actually, as a child, I was really, really talkative, very naughty, always wanted to be the life of the party, and had supersonic energy. Okay, I could go on and on and on. I mean, like literally tire
I'm the same.
everyone out. And but I was a good student. I got very good marks. I was very conscientious. Like I had to do means I had to do. And I loved fashion, and I loved to be an actor. Ever since I was 6 years old, I knew, okay, okay, this is the line I am going to follow, which is very rare those days. And
Yes,
also for a person who came from a pretty quintessential Parsi family, who had no interest in being famous, nobody in my family. And, I was full of Rekha and Sri Devi at that time.
oh,
And I remember Rekha's movie Umrao Jan had just been released, and we had cassettes at that time. And I'd bought the cassette or borrowed it from some friend. And I started, with a dupatta. Ek to we didn't wear salwar kameezes. There was no salwar kameez at home. So I don't know how I got that dupatta, or it was half a sari, or God knows what it was. Must be some from my sister. And I started doing in he logo ne, in he logo ne. And I was like full on in front of the mirror in my own world and everything. And my mother came in at that time unexpectedly early, and she's like, "What are you listening to?" And I was like, "Oh my God." I got such a scare. And she was like, "No, no, 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 we can't listen to all these songs. They're such depressing songs." And Umrao Jan were a little
yes,
depressing songs, about all feelings and stuff. And she's like, "No, no, you cannot listen to all these songs. You have to listen to happy songs." And she took out the cassette and put it down unknowingly, and it was just very nonchalantly. And she's saying, "Listen to some happy songs, some songs that will make you, laugh and build up your energy." And I'm like, "Oh my God, how will I tell her that this is Rekha's ultimate
a
album?
nice
Yeah,
favorite.
and my favorite."
And you sing
So,
pretty well, Tannaz. I believe in a reality show you were called the Lata Mangeshkar.
yeah, I think Akhtar ji didn't have any choice but to call me that, because all the others must have been croaking away. So it was called
No, but
Celebrity Male
you
Celebrity.
any plans to sing yourself in a music video now? Since you've already stretched yourself to writing and coaching, एक ये भी कर लो.
Good idea. I will do it soon. I will do it
Yeah,
soon.
you should. You please call
You know,
me to do the chorus bit.
actually, it's very funny that you should say that because when I was doing theater,
Hmm.
all the songs that were sung, the intro songs and stuff were always sung by me.
Wow, wonderful.
And
So can
I
you
did a
treat us
show.
to two lines of your singing?
Oh my God.
Something you sing at home for the kids?
Oh, I sing a lot all the time, but like suddenly, and I also sang for my show, Tango, Tango with
Hmm.
Tannaz. So I sang for
Okay.
that too. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, there are quite a few places where I did already sing for so many plays, and I loved going for recordings. And so it's great.
Wow,
It's great fun.
I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of that. So come
Yeah.
on, any two lines.
Oh my God. I am like, you caught me totally off guard, and I'm
Tango
just
Wali
so
Sunado,
prepared.
Tango Wali.
Oh, yeah, I don't know the lyrics of that. My God. Uh, it just goes tango, tango, tango with Tanas, tango, tango, tango with Tanas. That's the chorus. I
That sounds
forgot all the other
cute.
lyrics.
Never
I'm
mind.
sure you'll
Thank you
find
so
it.
much. You're such a sport. I knew you would do that. So should we have a quick rapid fire?
Yeah,
So
perfect.
one word and
Let's do it.
whatever thought comes into your mind, and then we'll end the show. And
Okay.
it's been fun talking to you. Very inspiring. Lot of
Yeah.
fun. I'm sure the viewers are enjoying it too, and they will enjoy it when they see it in time. Some of them will be watching later.
Yeah.
So, okay, the first word which I want to ask is beauty.
Skin deep. And beauty
Mother.
is mother.
Okay. Okay, now you can complete
Mother.
that. Beauty is,
Beauty is what, like I always say, handsome is what handsome does. So
yes,
beauty is but skin deep,
what
but
beauty
beauty
does.
lies in what you do for others. Yeah, that's what I always feel.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, mother, mom,
Mother, someone who can see through everything.
so true. Kids,
Uh, True teachers, if you're willing to learn the lesson.
lovely. Love,
Love is when you allow the person to be himself or herself.
won-
That is love.
wonderful. Peace,
Most important. Never compromise on that.
absolutely precious, right? And what about things like courage, compassion, wisdom? Should I put them
I
together?
think courage comes when you're pushed against the wall, when you have nowhere to go. That is true courage. Compassion is when you can get out of yourself and into somebody else's shoes and literally do something selflessly. That is compassion.
And what would wisdom be?
Wisdom comes with age. There's so much of knowledge, but there's no wisdom.
Okay, tell us something about your what comes to your mind when you think of failure.
Superb. Everyone should fail. It's compulsory
Fail
because that's the
quickly.
only way you're going to move ahead. That's the only way you're going to move ahead. That's complete feedback for you.
Wonderful. NLP, apart from neuro linguistic programming,
Super modality for you to master your mind and actually see the depth of your mind yourself.
absolutely. I think it should be
Yeah.
taught in schools. Don't you think so?
Actually, yeah. And we did have that point. We did discuss that it should be taught in schools. But we came to the point that, maybe the teachers need to learn it first.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, teachers, students, everybody should be
Everyone.
open,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think with your book, a lot of people will get an insight into all the techniques because you have, I think, covered a lot about NLP in your book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on that note, I think we can end this chat today and wishing you
Thank
all the best in us for a wonderful journey ahead as an NLP coach. And of course, I know as soon as your knee is fit, you're going to go back to acting for sure and direction. It's just a break. I can predict that for you. Because, and I'm looking forward to more singing, more acting, more dancing, and a whole lot of coaching on the sets, outside the sets for everybody.
Yeah.
And always
Once an
keep that
NLP coach,
bright
always an
smile
NLP
on.
coach.
Keep
Thank
spreading
you.
your light. Thank you so much for coming on my show. It was really a lot of fun. Thank you.
Bye. See you.
Bye bye.